Aloha and welcome to Human Design Hawaii's YouTube site. For those of you that have been subscribed or have been subscribing, welcome back, and for those of you that are new, welcome as well. It's been a few years since we put out our first series of videos, and not only has my own experiment continued to evolve, those around me's experiments have continued to evolve, and it's really given me a beautiful place to sit and watch. As a projector, it's really my gift to see and see how this all works. And so for those of you that are coming back, you're going to find some much deeper looks at some of this information. And we've added to the categories, and there's several additional playlists that are going to be available. And there's lots of videos being added now. So I would invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy whatever's correct for you. And if this experiment starts to get a little scary, don't worry. We've all been really scared. It's been a long, tough road, but I would not trade this for anything in the world. It's an incredible, incredible thing to discover yourself. Aloha.
Greetings, my fellow MGTOW brothers. So this is a wonderful man. He is a wonderful man, John Martin from Human Design Hawaii. And I'm going to make this video topic on, it kind of continues the theme of self-exploration I talked about in the last video. And as he said, what's this thing called human design? And how do you experiment with it? And so I'm going to share, because I haven't seen any other MGTOW talk about this, and I've really wanted to share this topic for a long time. Because when I was more in spiritual communities, and I got involved about 10, 12 years ago with various teachers and spent time in meditation retreats, silent retreats, that were really important. It was actually, interestingly, it was right before my father got sick and ended up passing, going on to the next plane of existence, whatever, or just whatever you want to say. I mean, when he transitioned, I needed to ask myself questions about how would I deal with that, how would I cope, and because that felt more important and concerning to me than dealing with my own passing at the time. Thankfully, as much as I can, I'm taking care of myself, so that's hopefully delayed as long as possible so I can maximize my enjoyment of being on this planet, my opportunity, enjoyment. And when I was in the community, I was introduced to this idea of human design, and that it is a way to understand who you are, to understand your uniqueness, to see the your energetic makeup in a way that is really practical and useful. Because I was introduced to astrology when I was a teenager. I was introduced to Enneagram and personality types, Jungian, Myers-Briggs, young personality types, and there's other modalities of knowing, understanding yourself out there, and each of them gave a certain level of insight and added something to my knowing of self that I didn't have. It helped me understand tendencies and qualities and behaviors. But until I came across human design, and this is what I call single-dimensional human design, what John is talking about, and you'll understand what I mean a little bit later. When I came across this human design, it showed me my energy. It showed me my makeup in a way that nothing else had. And I'm gonna put in, let's see what I can do. I'm gonna put in, well, let's just put in today's date. So let's see what happens with this. Today is today's day 1. Actually, no, it's not 1. It's 23rd June. I think we have to put 6. Let's see, 18. And let's make 1400 about. I have to go back and adjust this. Oh yeah, it has. Let's just say, and let's see if I did this correctly. Okay. So this is what the human design chart looks like, and this is just a sample. And what it helps to do, what it's doing here, so it's an invitation to experiment with how your energy works. How do you move through the world to make decisions and to put together your physical, like the energies of your physical body, this body that we've been born into, along with the dynamics of what your soul's journey has been over however many lifetimes, you could say. For whether or not you necessarily believe in this, I mean, I actually consider myself, I was raised Christian, Catholic, and began to explore. And there's so much more to the Christianity than the accepted books of the Bible talk about, because there's the whole Gnostic texts that were not included, and the Nag Hammadi, the discovery of the Nag Hammadi scriptures back in, I think, in the 30s, 40s, that were buried because those who got power in the Christian church refused to acknowledge that there was more to life than simply just going to church and following the church's recommendations and kind of plugging into that system. So the Gnostics were pretty red pill. They're pretty woke. And that's actually what gets into when I talk about archons in another video, which, very interesting topic itself. Because now we're definitely getting more on the esoteric side. And again, this is a tool that is, to me, it's an esoteric tool. It's an esoteric origin, and it's practical and useful. So what human design is doing, it's taking your birth date, taking your information of when you were born, and it's giving you these energetics. And these numbers actually correspond to gates of the I Ching. And the I Ching is an ancient Chinese divination method, divination tool, that they would take sticks or take coins and they would cast them to, they'd ask a question, they'd feel a question, some topic, some question they had, and they would cast these sticks or these coins, and they would get patterns of 3. You do it 3 times to get, or 3 times, actually 3 times 3, I believe, to get this hexagram, this kind of symbol. It would code for a symbol, and you'd have yin and yang, right? On and off, black and white in a way, and so you'd get this hexagram, which is six sets of these on and off lines, you could say, broken line versus solid line. And that would correspond to a certain number, which was a hexagram, and that would have an intent, a meaning. And then you would read what that hexagram of the I Ching said about your question, and then you would reflect upon that. And there's a deep, like a cosmological significance to the I Ching. It shows wisdom from the very, very small to the very, very large, the very fast to the very slow. It's an incredible wisdom system, really amazing for developing an insight into your clarity. And so in a way, this is the I Ching is tying, each of us has a tie-in to different aspects of this cosmic cycle. And we're all designed differently. And that's what human design really celebrates, is that we're all unique. That you are a unique being, and this human design energy, this human design body graph, is showing you how your energy works. And I'll go into more of the topic. This is more of an introduction that I wanted to share, but this is just introducing you to the idea that this is a system that's available. You can go to this one website called Jovian Archive, which you can't see the link in that because I don't have, but it's jovianarchive.com, like the name here. There's other websites you can go to get a free chart, a human design chart, or a rave chart they call it, in the single dimensional. And when you can see this, now you can see the outline of the human form here, and you can kind of see how these chakras correspond to different parts of the body. And so just briefly, there's the crown chakra, which has to do with inspiration and ideas, as well as this is the ajna, or the third eye, which has to do with how do you process and synthesize information into kind of a thought pattern or a thought expression. And then this is your throat center, which is, say, not just speaking, but also manifesting, kind of bringing something into the world. And so those are fairly known in sort of the Hindu or mystical traditions to a degree. This center is interesting. It's called the G center, or the G self, or you could say the God self. So this has to do with connecting to a sense of purpose, to why are we here, why are you here, how does your purpose express itself. And each of these different connections and all of the chakras relates to a certain expression of energy. How does your energy want to move itself and to show up in the world? And for those who have this G center activated, you have a clearer sense of your identity and your purpose than those who don't. And what I found interesting is that I have an open G center in the single dimensional human design. And so I can find purpose, and I have questions about my purpose and what am I supposed to do and where am I supposed to be going. It's somebody who has this type of an energy where it's activated, this is colored in. Somebody who expresses that energy has a knowing of, this is my destination, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to school, I'm going to study engineering, I'm going to get a job, I want to work for, for Boeing, da-da-da. That's kind of what this influences. But those who have it open, we're receiving energy. Like anywhere you see a chakra that's white, which means that the two chakras haven't connected to each other, two energy centers haven't connected, because the I Ching gates, they haven't activated on both sides of this channel, they call it. So this is a channel between two chakras, and you would need to have this activated, say this is the 59, and this is in the sacral center, and then you'd have to have the 6 activated, which is in the emotional center. Because neither one of these is activated, these two chakras aren't turned on in an active way, that they're not inner fueled. These are fueled by people's, other people around you, because you're absorbing energy. You're absorbing and taking in energy, whether it's from other people and even from how the sun and stars, the sun and the planets, this is, different planetary bodies, are moving through, the cycles of the seasons, the year. So again, I'll just go back to talking about the chakras. This is the G self. This is the heart center, which has to do with willpower, committing to energy, committing yourself to doing something, to engaging in a project, to saying, yes, I'll go to that party, yes, I'll go to that function, yeah, I want to make this happen, yeah, I want to take a trip, or yeah, I want to get a degree, or yeah, I want to pursue that whatever it is, fill in the blank. So this center is another one that has a lot to do with, if you feel stressed because you're trying to do too much, then you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel heart pain. And people who have heart attacks, and actually John Martin mentioned this because he talks about how his father had an open heart center, and he had a heart attack, and he was, I think, overcommitting himself. I think John also has an open heart center. And interesting, when John mentioned projector, like that's what this energy type, this particular chart shows. That has 20% of people on the planet are projectors. Around 20, yeah, it's around 20%. So continuing, so be careful if you have this open. Be very careful to making commitments of your energy into the future, or even if it's in the present. Just be careful about making commitments, of promising, of somebody saying, yeah, come on, let's go do this. Again, this is a beautiful part of MGTOW, and being self-directed, self-aware, is that you don't have to make promises just to make somebody happy. But many of us have had to. Many of us still have to deal with that, even in the work context. How do you tell a boss, yeah, I can work on the project, but I have these other things going on that you've already asked me to do, or somebody asked me to do. How do I prioritize? Because I can't do everything all at once. So this has to do with the ego center, heart center, willpower, determination. Okay, so this is the emotional center, the emotional chakra. Now, where the heart center is activated in about 20% of people on the planet. So in a way, it's funny because 20% of the people who say maybe managers or leaders or the people you see on TV. And by the way, I have an open heart center in the single dimensional, but mine becomes activated over about a week, and then it becomes activated again over a longer period, over about 3 months. So you don't see these things in the single dimensional human design. You only see it in what I would look at and say, this is the this woman, the system, Noble Sciences. They have a multi-dimensional human design. So this is an enhancement on the original single dimensional, to give it more depth, because it's not just boom, this is the chart from the moment you're born. In a way, that's kind of what this is showing. But how does your energy mature? How does your energy move over an hour, a couple hours, a day, a few days, a week, several months, etc.? So this single dimensional doesn't show everything. It's powerful, but it doesn't show everything. So 20% of the planet has a defined heart center, which means 20% of the people on the planet can commit their energy right here and now to do something, to make something happen, to go climb that mountain. Yeah, I'm going to go climb, K2 next month. And they can go do it because they have a defined, it's going to turn red if it's activated. They have a defined heart center. They can do that. But if they say, hey man, come climb a mountain with me, you're like, I'm not sure, because you can't commit yourself right then. You might need a while to decide. Maybe you'll need a day, maybe you'll need a lot longer. So 80% of us are not designed to commit our energy to something in a given moment. That is so powerful to understand. That was hugely liberating for me. Really, really liberating, because you relieve so much stress for yourself. You can just say, I don't know right now. Ask me tomorrow, ask me next week, or I'll think about it, I'll sleep on it. I'll take walks, I'll go for walks, and that'll help get me clarity going, right? You're going to do your walking, your breathing, just take some time and see what happens. This is why it's important to learn to wait, because there are people that are designed to move more fast and with more determination, and other of us, many of us, most of us, are designed to take our time. We need to be patient. And this is where the emotional center also ties in. Because in a way, and I've had readers that kind of emphasize this to me, these three centers, the G center, the G self, the ego center or the heart center, the heart chakra, and the emotional center, these three are hugely important for how we relate in the world. So I've talked about purpose, having direction, purpose, a connection to your higher self, to your reasons for being on the planet. What do you want to do with your life in that sense? This is kind of like inner guidance and feeling a sense of inner guidance. This is willpower, ego, wanting something. There's the money channel. Interestingly, Trump has this channel, which is called the money channel. I mean, no surprise, right? But that's why you look at his energy. He's got a big energy. I mean, the man is bigger than life, and he's got this. So if you don't have the money channel, you're not designed to pursue money and success like he is. And that's also why he's attractive to people, and also why he rubs people the wrong way, some people, because they just don't get his energy, and he's just being who he is, So then this emotional center, half of us, 50% of us have it activated, and half don't. So what happens is that if you have this activated, you're putting out emotional energy in the world. I love this, I hate this, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm confused, I'm clear, I understand, I don't understand. Your feelings, all your moods are being pumped like a volcano. Whether it's a slow lava flow or it's an eruption, it can be any or all of the above. Which means that any given moment you don't have clarity on how you feel. You probably don't have clarity. You're feeling what you're feeling. And this applies to men and women. And this is where it's important, men, to not just say, oh, men are supposed to be only rational. You're only supposed to be rational and think, have ideas and think them through and then bring them into action. Well, yes, there's a connection, there's a conduit here, but really life is meant to be lived, needs to be lived from the neck down, not from the neck up. Your ideas and insights are meant to be expressed to the world for others to take and to digest in their whole being. And this is, they can take it in as a mental idea, but you want to enact it, you have to process it through your body. Human design is saying we are body-based beings. Because everything that really matters for us to make decisions, because that's what it has to do when it says strategy. When you're making a decision on how do you move, how do you know what your authority is, your inner authority to make a decision, how does your inner authority work? This is from the body, which includes emotions, which includes the idea of saying, I feel good about that. I feel happy with that idea, or I'm feeling uneasy. I feel anxious. I don't want to make a decision when I'm anxious, and if I'm not really sure that that's a clear sense of anxiety, because anxiety can be a powerful tool that says, I'm not committed to this. I can't feel good about going into this activity, this endeavor, engaging with this person, because I had a certain emotional hit and I need to go and be with my feelings and usually sleep on it. At the very least, sleep on things. If you're emotional, if you find out you're emotional, you've got to get good at waiting and being patient. And I mean, this is for any of us that I don't have an emotional center that's activated unless I'm in proximity to somebody who has some of the activations that I would need to activate it. When I'm in relationship, when I've been in a relationship, this does activate for me. And that's where those of us who are generally more rational, more calm, more kind of logical, we can be influenced by people who have strong emotions. And that's an important thing to realize. So you've got to be patient. So if you're an emotional being, you need to learn to wait, because you have a depth, like you have these deep, deep currents inside you that are moving you. And often people who are very quiet, if you see that seem to be very quiet, like they're almost emotionless, they're often just dealing with so much, and they have to find ways to deal with that, like walking, exercising, meditating, just moving your body. Because literally, when you move your body, you're moving all of this energy through you in a way that is going to be healthier than just sitting and thinking and thinking. And you're never going to get an answer just by sitting and thinking. That's another beautiful clarity about human design, is you're meant to be moving energy through you. You need to move it through you. And so with emotional energy, if you're emotionally activated, if you're feeling emotional about something, even if you're not emotionally activated, even if this is open, but if you're feeling really intensely emotional, you're going to want to wait before you make a decision, either for or against something. Because if you wait, you're going to get the best result. You're going to get a better deal, a better result. Somebody said, and I think it was actually John Martin was saying, play hard to get. You need to push things away. If you're emotional, push it away and it'll come back. If it comes back, you're going to get a better deal out of it. And playing hard to get isn't just like a thing that girls do. I mean, sometimes girls have to do that, because if they're feeling really emotionally activated, and often women are emotional in general, then they need to know that something's right for them too. So when you realize, hey, if I'm emotional, I need to wait till I feel clear emotionally. Somebody else may be emotional. So you learn to give people their space. This is a beautiful knowing that as MGTOW, we don't have to rush into things. There's no sense of rush. The sense of rush only comes from the mind telling us, come on, hurry up, get more ideas, figure things out and make it happen, manifest it, make it happen. Bullshit. Just laugh at the mind, like, whatever. I'm gonna take a walk. I'll play a video game for a while. I'm gonna go chill. Maybe I need to just release some sexual energy. I'm gonna go do some tantric tantric masturbation with my awesome little friend. And you can do that and then even think about what you want to create. I mean, that's a powerful thing. Sexual manifestation, sexual energy manifested is incredibly powerful. You're literally creating from, and that's what the sacral center is. So we're at 23 minutes, and I'm going to just talk about these other three centers. So then I'll close up the video. So the sacral center is what's called the sacral sacred sacrum. It's the dantian in the Chinese. The area right around the belly, right at the belly. So it's a center of power. This is where those of us that are generators. And so in this chart, this person is a projector. So projector, one of the definition of a projector is somebody who has the sacral center undefined. The sacral center is incredible because it is actually attracting opportunity, life to you. And then you are rebroadcasting vitality, energy, potential, creativity, sexual energy. And that is what the sacral is about. It's about creating and working and engaging. And it's actually a motor. It's moving us. Like the emotions are a motor. It's giving you fuel, emotional fuel. The heart is a motor of giving you the ego energy, the willpower energy. And the sacral is one of the other two motors. There's also the root. But the sacral is a powerful motor that defines what it is to be a generator being. And a generator, let me see, I can put in a friend's birth date. Let's see, I should be able to remember it. And let's see, date, when this should work. So this is a chart for generator, right? So this is a generator. So this is, again, this says the type is generator. And this is your sacral center activated. So the sacral and what makes a generator, as it says here, is the inner authority is sacral. Now, 80% of us, 80% of the people on the planet, and this has been demonstrated with studies of thousands of people done by this woman, Dr. Eleanor Haspel-Portner, who has a background in both esoteric sciences. She's got a PhD in sociology, and she's an expert at various tarot, the gematria. I mean, she's a badass. She's pretty damn cool. She's actually a manifester. There's only about 8% of us that are manifestors, 8% of the planet. So generators, there's two types. There's two main types. There's generators and manifesting generators. Generators you can consider as like between the tortoise and the hare analogy. Generators are the hare, so they're more methodical, step by step. Sorry, generators are the tortoise. They're the more slower moving, seemingly slower moving, step by step, A to Z, A, B, C, D. They go sequentially through things. And manifesting generators tend to be the hare. They want to jump around. They can be more quick, kind of snap into this and that. Skip steps, which can be okay or not, depending on, you may have to go back and clean things up. If you're the hare, if you're a manifesting generator, you might be going too fast through something. And if you're a pure generator, you might have a very methodical approach, but you might end up doing things that are not necessary because you're sort of stuck in a rhythm, you're stuck in a pattern. So it's good to understand what both of them mean. But the main point is that 80% of us, if you do your chart, you're going to see that the sacral center is active, and it means that you're meant to respond to life, to respond to opportunities, and you respond from from your gut, from the sacral center, which is a sound-based motor. It turns on and off with sound. So if you find, and I love watching some older movies, like Humphrey Bogart is a fucking awesome generator. Do his chart, look him up. He's a generator. You listen to him in his movies, he's like, I mean, it's so masculine too. If you don't have to speak, you can communicate so much. Just putting your hand on your belly, just feeling what it's like in your belly and your being. Like when you go to a restaurant, and someone says, "Would you like a drink?" Yeah, I'll have some water. If you know that you're a generator, experimenting, again, this is an experiment. Experiment with what does it mean to respond. Or if someone says, what do you think? I says, well, ask me a question, or can you ask me some questions? You can say, do you like eggs? Are you a fan of baseball? Do you want to go traveling? And they can ask you questions that if you can answer in a yes or no way, you're going to find out things about yourself. And if your friend is a generator, you can ask them questions. And you can even do this over email, over Twitch. If you don't have someone that you can directly contact, you could talk on. You can be talking to people on Discord, right? This is so amazing because you learn that your body is giving you information. It's giving you truth. You're learning about yourself. You're discovering yourself through what your body's telling you. And again, this is an experiment. If you want to try it out, and if it works for you, great. If it doesn't resonate with you, fine. It's not for you. But man, this just opening your eyes, opening your mind and to the possibility that this might be like really significant, this could transform your life is incredible. Because when you actually look at little kids, kids are very sacral based, many of them. Do you want to go there? I don't want to. Do you want that? That's all the sacral talking. So when you find out what your type is, because that's what the type means, is like the aura type. There's all the ways that there's a few key things in terms of the different chakras that creates your aura type. 80% of us are going to be generators, whether it's a generator, I call pure generator, or a manifesting generator, which the manifesting generator has the sacral connected to the throat, either directly in some way, shape, or form, but it's connected to the throat, which means you can kind of manifest more quickly, or you can express yourself more quickly. But there's a feedback loop. There's a feedback of manifesting generators are a little bit different. You have to envision what you want to create, kind of feel yourself, see yourself doing it, which is why meditation, breathing, being able to kind of be with your ideas and your concepts. So some people that are pure generators may seem like they're going to take time to develop the momentum, but silent waters run deep. And if you're an emotional generator, then you even have more going on that you have to be with and sit with and move with. And then when your energy is clear, when your emotions are clear, when you are moving from a place of, I feel this now, man. Like, I've been wanting to make videos for a few days, a week, when Zeitgeist Eater made his videos more recently. I was like, man, I want to make some more. And finally today, I just said, boom, it's happening. You know, I had my keto coffee. I just felt really juiced up, and it's happening, and I love it. So the sacral is powerful. When you listen to the tools, when you and if you don't know, if you're feeling I don't know, you know, like I don't know, you know, that is the not sure. It's like the light switch in the middle position. Like, it's not on, I'm not off, I'm not sure. So you don't know yet. So there's which is yes, the sacral in terms of the way the motor works. The that's no, and then the I don't know. Like, ask me later, or I don't know. I'm feeling what I'm feeling about it, and I don't really know yet. I'll let you know later, or ask me again later. So then there's two more centers. There's the root center, which has to do with purpose. Purpose in a way that's more like it's like adrenaline based. It's like driving you, making you want to build, create, feel. I mean, you've got this purpose, this root center, which also gives you a sense of grounding. Like, if you can be calm, if you can feel stable to be in a place and not needing to necessarily move around and bounce around, then you probably have a defined root center. If you feel like a need to build, to structure things, to do things that are maybe meaningful in kind of a longer term fashion, then you might have an activated root center. And it's a motor too. It's a pressure center, so it's actually based kind of on adrenaline. And sometimes, like, I find that I have an activated root center, and I find that if I will procrastinate, or I'll delay until, like, today, boom, the energy's all there, and whatever's happened, I don't know, it just, boom, it's here, and I'm just doing it, and I'll get a burst of activity, and it'll just work. So if you have an open root center, you also could feel pressure to have to do things, and so you may need to listen to those voices, and again, walk, breathe, exercise, do what you do, so that you feel calmness, so that you're not feeling unnatural pressure. Because if you feel pressure that's not inner directed, like, I wanted to make these videos, nobody told me to make them, you know, I want to exercise, I want to eat well, no one's telling me to do this, I choose to do this. If you feel pressure from inside that's kind of a calm directed pressure, then that's fueling you again. And it can take time. It can take time to build. So and then finally there's this splenic center, or the intuition center, the intuitive center, which is like body-based wisdom. And somebody was describing it, I think John here from Human Design Hawaii described the spleen as, because he's a splenic projector. He's got his throat center activated, I'm pretty sure he does, and his spleen and his root. So he has kind of like a connection that looks like this. So he talks about the spleen as being like these fine sensors, like all of these little ears and eyes and noses that are tuned on our body, that are picking up on the environment. And it's like an animal that gets an immediate sense of whether it likes or doesn't like a person, or if it feels comfortable in an environment or not. So this is your intuitive knowing of things. And it's not as subtle as it doesn't have the range that the emotional center does, but the emotional center will give you more information about the nuances of something in a way. The spleen will kind of tell you whether something feels, you know, good for your body or not good for your body, or whether you feel comfortable in a space or not. But it's very instantaneous. It's very immediate. So if you meet someone, you experience something, and boom, that feels good, or ooh, that feels wrong, your spleen is lighting up. It's telling you something. And that's if it's activated. If it's open, you're reading other people really, really well. You're probably picking up more on other people rather than how you feel. And again, that can be very, very powerful to know, like, okay, this person feels like they're on, or this person feels like they're off, or this environment feels off. You know, and then how do you tune into that as well? So that's a kind of a long introduction, and giving some of my experiences with this. Most of us are going to be generators, 80%. Then there's projectors, which are about 20%. Projectors have the sacral undefined. The center is not defined. It's open. If you're a manifester, you also have an open sacral. So projectors are meant to be invited. Somebody needs to invite the projector to do something, to go somewhere, to be in part of a project, so that then you can feel whether it's your emotional energy or your root or your spleen, like if you're being driven by purpose, contribution in a way, or by your feelings, or by your ego. You could be an ego projector, or by your intuition, your body knowing, your feeling of, yeah, man, I got tingles thinking about that. Like you listen to great music, you know, you get tingles all over your body. You know, that's your spleen is kind of like, woohoo, this is on, this is a yes. But projectors are more lower. They're like more yin. The energy is a bit more yin. You know, it's not that it's necessarily only feminine, but you need to be drawn into a situation. Like Mick Jagger is a projector. He needs to be asked to come on stage before he does, you know, goes out there with the Rolling Stones. And that was a really interesting thing. I didn't know that about him. He needs to be asked to perform. And also projectors and generators kind of tend to go together like peas and carrots. So there's also sexual polarity there too, because the sacral center is actually the source of sexuality. So what's interesting is that I've met women in the past who are projectors, and I'm a generator, and I feel that they're really sexy, and they feel I'm really sexy, and part of it's because they're feeling my energy, and I'm feeling their receptivity to my energy, and that's a really interesting contrast. It's also important to know, like if you look at people from the past, and if you have particular relationships that may or may not work, you know, it may be like there's certain qualities between each of you, and this is all about relationship dynamics too. It can be really enlightening to see how your energies and somebody else you may know or you might know currently, how your energies mix and match, and you know where you're creating more circuit connections in a way, because it's electrical, electromagnetic. So you've got the generators, 80%. Half of them are manifesting generators, half of them are pure. You've got projectors, which is about 20%. You got about 8%, which are manifestors, which again have an open sacral, but they have a connection from one of the motor centers, whether it's the root or the ego or the emotions, to the throat. So they're meant to be more self-contained. They're more independent energy. They're building on their own more. They're creating on their own. They're like kind of like the battleship. As it leaves the harbor, it just needs to announce, hey, I'm going here. It's not asking for permission. The battleship doesn't give a shit what anyone else thinks. They're saying, I'm coming through, get out of my way. And each of the centers has a strategy that they need to do. Like generators need to respond, and you need to learn to respond to the environment, to let an opportunity come up and feel in your sacral, feel in your emotional center what feels correct for you. Give yourself time, wait to respond. Projectors need to learn to wait for invitation, to feel the invitation in their body, to feel seen and received by the person, the environment, the group, etc., so that you will be rewarded for your insights. Because projectors are really good. They actually are able to tune into the other person's G center so they can see, is this person using their energy properly or not? So projectors can be great teachers, guides, managers. They're not meant to be the 9 to 5, overtime workhorses. Generators, we're meant to do the work. We're meant to burn ourselves out. Literally each day, just go to bed exhausted, and you just go to bed when you go to bed, and you wake up and you're recharged. Projectors have to let their bodies relax. If you're a projector, it's really important to not overtax yourself. Give yourself time to wind down. It's very yin, whereas the generator is more yang. The yang is more the masculine, the directed, the focus energy. The projector is more of the reflective, the more receptive, sensitive energy. That's important distinction. So I'm gonna, and again, manifestors they need to announce their intention. You need to just let people know what you're doing. You're not asking for permission. You're just informing. You're informing people. Those are the key types. I hope you can experiment with this. Check this out. This channel, John Martin, has got great insights, lots of great videos. Once you know your chart, you can go here and get it for free. Take a look, explore it, see what it has to say for you. You'll be amazed. I actually have done coaching on this. I've used various other aspects of human design to do coaching, and it's definitely helped me to help people see what they do. I'm not necessarily advertising myself as a coach right now, but I think as MGTOW, we can find a lot on our own. We can do a lot that's self-directed. So I hope that this long video is interesting, insightful, stimulating to you. So please, as always, leave your comments. I'm definitely going to do more on the human design, and it's a super powerful tool if you approach it with an open mind. All right, take care, man.